Welcome to the Unfiltered Tea with Evie podcast, where personal brands and service providers come for honest, anti-sleaze marketing advice that actually works. I'm Evie Tavares, founder of Evie Tavares Branding, and if you're tired of manipulative tactics, sleazy marketing strategies, and feeling like you're the only one who doesn't have your business all together, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we're diving into copywriting, personal branding strategy, business mindset, and balancing business with kids and real life. I'll be bringing in some epic guests, including business experts, to share their insights and real experiences in life and business. You can expect real life stories, tactical tips, and the occasional spicy Evie moment, all served up with your morning cup of tea. So grab your tea, get cozy, and let's get into it. I am back with another solo episode, and it's one that I've been thinking about recording for quite a while on a topic that's very big right now. And before we get into that, I just wanted to share a little update, kind of let you know what's going on behind the scenes. February, by the time this comes out, February's almost over, and I don't think I've ever been more happy for a month to be over. We did not go away anywhere sunny and hot this winter, and I was definitely feeling that in February. But something that kind of happened that honestly doesn't happen very often for me is just the need and the push to just go really quiet for a little while. I've been posting and sharing on Instagram, on social media for the majority of my business, so 3 years, very consistently. And there's been maybe once, maybe twice where I didn't want to post. And there's been times where I haven't posted because I've been on vacation. But then there's these other kind of situations where it's like, I just don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't feel like I can bring my real full self to the table right now because I'm not feeling 100%. And that's kind of what happened. And I feel like I'm coming out of it. But one thing that I'm really grateful for is that I did start this podcast, because that aversion to showing up and aversion to posting feels very much around the short form content, the reels that you try to get lots of views, and like just sometimes what feels like shouting out into the void. That's what I've been avoiding. That's what I've been feeling like it's something that's really difficult for me right now. On the other hand, opening up and having more depth, having deeper conversations, longer form content is something I'm feeling more pulled to. And I think the cool thing about the podcast is that you can do that and then you can trickle it down into smaller content. So it takes the pressure off of having to create more of that short form content because I'm creating the long form content and working it down from there. So I think January was a great time to start this. It's given me something to still be excited about for creating. And the other thing is that I gave myself permission to be quiet. I haven't put the pressure on to show up on Instagram when I can't. Because again, I've been doing it consistently. So I know there's times where I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want to post. And it's like, no, you post anyway. This is part of the job. Stay consistent. This is different. This is like just a full body no to getting into that hamster wheel of creating content at this moment. I've really been honoring that. It's partially too because I haven't been in the best mood with February, with the winter blues and everything. And I don't want to bring that energy into my content. That's not who I am. I like being somebody who's positive and upbeat. I like being somebody who can make people feel good and feel positive and make them smile. Like that's just who I am. And giving myself permission to just not have to show up when I'm not in that mindset, I think was very important for the last couple of weeks, honestly. And I know I'm not the only one who's felt this way. I've had a lot of conversations around this, and just knowing that I'm not the only one who's been feeling this way has been super helpful. And the other thing I found is I have wanted to create more than I have in quite a while. So taking that space, giving myself that breathing room has made me have so many ideas. It's made me rethink how I want to show up. It's made me think about things for the podcast. What do I want to talk about on the podcast? Who do I want to bring on the podcast? And what do I want my marketing strategy to look like moving forward so that I don't end up back in this place again? So it's been a very reflective few weeks. Again, when you feel that full body no of I need space right now in order to think and breathe and just work through what I'm working through, then I think it's important to honor that instead of pushing through and just getting stuck in the rat race of creating content all the time. Content creation is something I genuinely enjoy doing, even for social media, even for Instagram. So I know that there's something wrong when I'm not into it. So just honoring that and listening to that inner voice inside of you saying like, now's not the time, do what you need to do and come back to it later. So that's what I've been doing. And what I wanted to talk about today is kind of in line with that as well, because I want to talk about the whole theme of this episode is AI versus the copywriter. It's a very big topic. There's so much AI content out there, so much AI copywriting. And I think part of the reason that I've been feeling really adverse to social media is because of the amount that's on there. I've heard the term like AI fatigue thrown around because people are getting a little bit tired of just seeing the same thing over and over and over again, the same AI stuff over and over and over again. So I feel like this is an important conversation to have because I am the first person to say that I do not think that AI is all bad. And I do not think that AI, I think AI is a tool. It's not a takeover. I think what we've been seeing a lot lately is people are not using it as a tool. They're using it as a crutch. And I'm going to dive more into that. But first, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, specifically with Diary of a CEO. I've been doing a lot of research on the acceleration of AI, what's happening with the companies that are building AI. And there is a lot going on with regulations around AI. There's a huge conversation. One of my favorite podcasts that I just listened to was from Diary of a CEO. And I can't remember whose name it was. It was basically the guy who wrote the book on AI 50 years ago. So it's literally that he wrote the textbook that people studied who are now building these AI businesses like ChatGPT and what's the other one? Claude, Anthropic, and all of these ones. So him and a number of other people who are really the founders of AI technology have growing concerns about where it's going in terms of regulation. So while that is a conversation and something that I'm interested in and something that I might dive into at another time, that's not what I want to cover today, but it is something that I want to point out. And I'm going to link that episode because I think it is really important to listen to it. It's basically about the lack of regulation around AI and growing AI and the race that people are in to grow the best AI or AI agent or AGI. And it was fascinating and also a little scary to think about. But again, this is why bringing awareness to it is so important so that we know what we need to do in order to make sure that we're using AI in a responsible way. So let's get back to that point that I mentioned about how I think a lot of people, some people do use it as a tool and some people use AI as a crutch. And what I mean by that is they are outsourcing their voice, they're outsourcing their creativity, they are just wanting to become a content making machine and just pumping out AI content for the sake of being visible. And I think that's where people are getting really fatigued is because it's not quality content, it's quantity content and it is everywhere and it's just like driving people crazy. And I think that this is where it becomes really important of knowing your voice before you're going to AI. Even with clients as a copywriter, I think it is important for my clients to know their voice, have like an established brand voice, values, a good idea of what their messaging is before I will write for them, because I can't write in your voice if you don't even know what your voice is. How am I supposed to figure it out if you don't even know what it is? So the same thing with AI. I think people are just putting in like, I need you to write this and building their brand voice on AI, and it ends up just coming out looking like everybody else. Prompts are important, using the right prompts. One really great way of kind of avoiding that is make it your original thought first. So I think AI can be a really great sounding board for like, I need ideas on this. Can you give me some brainstorming on this? Like, give me some content ideas. But then take that idea and make it your own. If you're just taking AI's idea and then having AI write about it, is that really your thought? Is that really how you feel? I think it's important to really look deeply on that. So let's say that you have an idea of your own. Let's say that you have an idea from AI. Make it your own. Talk about it. Maybe do voice notes. Like talk it through with yourself. Figure out where you want to go with it. And instead of having AI write the first draft, maybe you should write the first draft. Like give it a go, because then it's going to be from your own mind. And I've talked before, I think on other podcasts, about what do you do when you want to write, but you have writer's block. You just start writing. You brainstorm, you write down all of your ideas. I think that's the missing piece a lot of the time, is you're not putting in your own ideas first. So that would be the first thing that I would do, is maybe try writing the first draft yourself, and then ask AI to go in and fill in the gaps while keeping the majority of the concept, the brand voice, and the ideas the same, if you need a little bit of a leg up with the writing. And the other thing that I think people are kind of past just straight up copy and pasting AI, but it can still be kind of obvious in some ways. And it's kind of backwards. It's kind of like plays with my brain a little bit, because they talk about it's not em dashes and Oxford commas. I know that was very big at the beginning, but the thing is that AI is being trained how to write from expert writers all over the world. It's being trained on buyer psychology. It's being trained on like readers' psychology, how people read easier. And it's taking all of these tips or tricks or tactics, like let's say putting things in a group of 3. So the mind psychology of it is like, if you're reading something and it's a list of like, you either need to drink tea, coffee, or water today. Having those 3 things is like very pleasing for the human mind, which is weird, but it picked up on that. So now if you look, it's everywhere. And the thing is that is a good writing tactic when it's used appropriately, when it's used the right amount. I think there's so many like AI things where every paragraph has that. And I think that's where the nuances really come in, of like having somebody who knows how to write really well and who knows what that final product needs to look like, to be able to be like, okay, we can have that up here. We can put something else down here. We don't have to have that same thing down here. So again, AI is using these professional tactics. It's using these professional skills, but it's using them a little bit too much. It doesn't know the nuances of where exactly things need to go in order for people to really grasp what you're saying and what you're writing. There's also a really fascinating study. I think it was MIT, and this has been talked about a lot, but it's about the study of the human brain using AI and the decrease in the cognitive function of using AI. And I think that's where the crutch versus tool comes in as well, because if you're using it as a tool and you're using it to improve the function of your brain, using it as a sounding board instead of just 100% leaning on it and outsourcing your creativity and your cognitive load to it, people who are using it properly as a tool are going to be okay. They're going to be thinking, okay, in 5-10 years time, still using that cognitive function and decision making and just using your brain instead of 100% outsourcing to AI. You hear the term AI slop a lot, and it's around content that is so obviously AI, or it just makes people kind of detached from it, because I think as soon as you know that there's not a human brain behind that, people can detach from it. Because at the end of the day, I think it was Robert Cialdini's book, Persuasion, talks about the psychological triggers for humans. And one of them is unity. Unity with other humans, unity with other people, community. That is something that is literally built into our psychology for years and years and years, centuries, forever. That's just a part of our psychology. So you can't tell me that somebody realizing that they're not actually connecting with a human, they're reading something from a robot, isn't going to trip something up in their psychology and make them not fully connect with it. I am a genuine believer that yes, AI will get bigger. Yes, AI will have some part to play in marketing and in copywriting, but human psychology does not change. We are always going to want that connection with a human. Even if AI starts writing novels or something, I'm not interested in reading a book from a robot. I like reading a book from somebody who knows human emotion and who can write to that and who can make me feel something with their writing. Like, maybe that's just me digging my heels in on it, but I just genuinely believe that human psychology is a part of it, and that we as humans will not fully convert to connecting with a robot, connecting with AI. There needs to be a human behind it for you to connect with. And when it comes to AI slop, I don't think that's AI's fault. AI is doing the best it can do with what it's given. That's how AI works. It's more the person behind it. So are you just copying and pasting it as it is? Are you looking over it, reading it in your own voice to see if it actually matches your own voice? Does it really sound like you? I think people are going to get more and more sensitive to that, especially when they know you and they're reading it and they can tell, like, okay, this is not who this person is. Like, it'll become more and more obvious, even with AI getting better. So what do I think that all of this has to do with copywriting? As a copywriter, again, AI is a tool. I like to use it when I need a sounding board for ideas. But again, I'm taking my original ideas and saying, what do you think of this? How can I tweak this a little bit? I'm still making sure that what I'm putting in and what I'm taking out is human concepts. And there's a lot of conversation around people using AI for writing their copy. I don't think that's always a bad thing. I think AI can write decent copy. Like I said, it's learned all of the really important skills of professional writing, professional copywriting. But I think there's always going to need to be somebody to make it great. If you are already conscious, or if you already know what really great copy needs to look like, what a really great sales page or email sequence or email strategy needs to look like, then yeah, AI is going to be a great tool to get you there faster. But if you don't know what any of that needs to look like, then you're relying on something that you really can't fully trust to do that job for you. I think I was chatting with somebody once, and she said that writing is one of the most underrated skills for a business owner to have. Not everybody has that skill, and that's totally okay. Not everybody likes writing. Not everybody wants to write. I think that's, again, where copywriters will always have a leg to stand on. But to completely outsource that to AI, I think is doing a disservice, and people will become more and more sensitive and more adverse to that as well. And if everybody starts using AI for copy, even with all the prompts, even with completely training it to sound like you, at some level, it still will all sound the same. That's where the creativity needs to come in, the human creativity, the human touch. Because if everybody's all going to sound the same, then how are you going to stand out? You're going to stand out by sounding human. You're going to stand out by doing things that are outside the box. That's one of my biggest things about AI, is that AI is only trained to do what it knows how to do. It's never going to think outside the box. It doesn't know how to think like a human. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't know what humans feel and deal with on a day-to-day basis, or what they're sitting up at 3 a.m. worrying about. The biggest advantage that you can have right now is to make sure that there is a human on the other side of it, not just taking AI for its word, literally, no pun intended. And yeah, just make it more human, because I'm sure that I'm not the only one who is feeling a little bit of AI fatigue around the AI content. And I've heard so many times that 2026 is going to be the year of long form content. And I think that's a testament to the beginning of AI fatigue. I think that's a testament to people getting a little bit tired of the AI slop content and the AI filled content. Because if you do something like podcasting or blogging or YouTube videos, it's a way for people to connect on that deeper level with you, which is something that we've kind of lost in the short form content, especially with the amount of AI. I think that's going to be huge in 2026, is even if it is short form content, just showing up with a video with yourself and talking to camera and just letting people see that you're a real human is going to be the biggest key to getting through 2026 and continuing to grow your business in 2026. So am I worried about my job as a copywriter because of AI? It's a really great question. The answer is no. Do I think that AI will make it look different in the future? Yeah, I think AI will have maybe more of a part to play for copywriters, but I don't think it will completely take it away. I think maybe it'll take away mediocre copy. It'll take away like generic copy. So I think that you will still need copywriting skills or a copywriter to make sure that you're not under that umbrella of generic and mediocre, to think outside the box, really own your voice and own what you're saying and show up as a real human. I think that that will always be a thing. And whether that's you doing that or you hiring a copywriter to do that, you hiring me to do that. The other thing is I think it still takes a lot of time. Being able to get anything decent out of AI still takes a lot of time, takes a lot of tweaking, takes a lot of effort. And some people just genuinely will not have that time, especially with a lot more pressure to pump out more content, more long form content, break it down into short form content. And there's going to be business owners who just legitimately do not have time to do that. So I think that's where copywriters will come in. There's people who don't want to use AI. People who want to just keep it human. They want to keep that human connection. And that's why I'm really not worried, to be honest. I'm actually excited to see where it goes. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that as a photographer as well. Just being a human is going to be the trend for 2026. And which is why, like, even for photography, for videography, just being yourself, again, finding your voice, finding your message, really digging into that and showing up as yourself is going to be huge. So that's my little rant about AI. I kind of blacked out for a little bit there when I was talking, so hopefully that all made sense. And if this is a discussion that you enjoyed and you want to chat more about it, or if something resonated, you already know you can slide in my DMs and send me a message and let me know. And if you're looking for that human copywriting, if you're looking for keeping that human touch, that human element in your business and in your marketing, then reach out. I am booking right now for end of April, and May is full. So then after that, we'd go into June. So if that's something that you're interested in as well, you can reach out on Instagram, or you can find my contact form on evietavaresbranding.ca. I would love to hear from you and work with you and help you just really stay human in 2026. I want to take a quick moment just to thank you so much for joining me in this space, and just to encourage you that if there was anything that kind of sparked something for you, or that you felt like somebody that you know maybe needed to hear, please feel free to share the episode. And if you are excited to hear more, go ahead and subscribe and listen to more of the episodes. I'm so excited that you're here, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you.